Hi, I'm Madeline, an account specialist here at Purple. On this edition of 30 on 3D, we will be talking about custom orthotics. Let's start with the traditional method of making orthotics. This process requires the patient to place their foot in a casting pattern, creating a negative impression of their foot. The plaster foot mold is then set and polished. Next, the insole is created with thermoforming, followed by burr cutting. Finally, the sole goes through finishing. As a quick side note, one of my coworkers recently was fitted for a custom orthotic. He knew we were going to be making this video, so he called us immediately after his appointment to tell us about his experience. This traditional process that I just mentioned is what his podiatrist used. His biggest complaint? He's currently having foot pain and his insoles will not be ready for 3 whole weeks. The next method we're going to go over is the semi-digital method. The first step again is to make an impression of the patient's foot. Then the impression is scanned to a 3D file. Instead of thermoforming the insole, the 3D model is cut out of a foam in a CNC mill. Next, it's burr cut before being finished. With the semi-digital method, there is slightly less manual labor and increased productivity. Finally, we arrive at 3D printing, our specialty. The first step in a 3D printed orthotic is taking a quick scan of the patient's foot. From the scan, a 3D file of the insole is made. Then the insole is printed. With the H350, 28 pairs of orthotics can be printed in one build. Each part can be a different patient's insole. This process is significantly faster than the traditional method. Once the insole is printed, there's no need for burr cutting. The manufacturer can jump straight to finishing and delivering the insole to the patient. From start to finish, making 28 insoles with the 3D printing process takes maybe 3 days. Let's compare that to the earlier story I mentioned about my coworker. Reminder, he's not getting his insoles for 3 weeks. If his podiatrist had scanned his foot and sent it off to be printed, he already would have his orthotics. But here's the thing, decreased labor, increased productivity, and cost optimization doesn't matter if the final product doesn't meet patient needs. PA11 on the H350 meets those needs. The material passes ISO and OECD testing of chemical standards, making it safe for contact with skin. The material is rigid but flexible enough to be comfortable. 3D printing and design gives the freedom for manufacturers to adjust the infill of geometry of each insole, improving comfort and matching patient needs. While 3D printing is still relatively new in the world of orthotics, its capabilities are proven and used by manufacturers globally. If you're interested in learning more, we're actually having a Lunch and Learn event at the end of the month, focusing on applications of the H350. Details are in the video description. I'd love if you were able to stop by.